Week 18, lesson 2. Okay, so this is something called the product rule. And I'll be honest, I can't remember if you've seen this notation before, but this is how you take the derivative of something that is a product, meaning I have one function being multiplied by some other function. Okay, so here's how it looks. It's the first function, unchanged, times the derivative of the second, plus the derivative of the second times the first one unchanged. Okay, so let's just literally jump into this first example. All right, so in order to take the derivative of h, I'm going to take the first function, 3x minus 2x squared, unchanged, right? Unchanged, times the derivative of the second, plus, and then I do it opposite. Then I do the derivative of the first, 3 minus 4x, times the second, 5 plus 4x. Okay, so I need to clean this up a little bit. All right, so which means here I'm going to distribute and here I'm going to FOIL. So 12x minus 8x squared plus 15 minus 8x minus 16x squared. And combining some like terms, I end up with negative 24x squared plus 4x plus 15. All right, scoon it up. Let's try the same thing on this one, okay? So the two separate functions are 3x squared and sine of x, okay? Now, something to kind of notice back up here is because of the plus, right? Because there's a plus sign right here in the middle, the order of these doesn't matter, okay? So you might memorize it slightly different. As long as you get these exact same things, it's fine. So for example, I tend to say it slightly different than it is here, but you'll get the same answers. Hopefully that makes sense. So for this one, here we go. So the derivative is the first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. All right, let's see. Is there anything I can factor out of these two terms? Yes, there is. I can factor a 3x out of both, which leaves me with x cosine x plus 2, I missed a 2 sine x. And that can be parentheses or brackets as long as it's a grouping symbol. Okay, now scooting up. Okay, now this, again, getting slightly more difficult. I want you to notice that this part of this problem, I have to use the product rule on, right? That part is the product rule, and then this part is just sort of the second half of this polynomial. Okay, so here we go. So as far, and I'll try to color code it as much as I can. So the stuff in pink, I have to use the product rule on, which is what you're learning today. So it is the first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. And then don't forget, you still have to do the derivative of this little guy that's hanging out, which is negative 2 cosine x. Okay, so now let's see what happens here. This and this are opposites of each other. Those cancel each other out. So my final answer here as far as the derivative is negative 2x, or I just move that out in front, times the sine of x.